everyone. I am going to try and do a reading and life update here. I already tried once and it's like the words are not coming, but that's okay. We will try again. It's been a while and, the semester's rolling along. I've had a second sort of health issue that I'm now coming over, but it meant that I had to go on steroids, which is just the way it was. It was a nerve impingement issue, which we won't get into. But I think I'm out of the woods there. So now we're heading into the end phase of the semester. My reading has been a little bit scattered. I haven't been able to settle. After I got out of finishing The Duke's Children, I've been sort of scrummaging around for a good read and as I say, haven't been able to settle on things. I'll pick them up, I'll like them, but for various reasons I don't need to explain completely, I put them aside. Let me talk a little bit about this big read that I'm coming to the end of. So it's interesting. I mean, I loved it in the beginning and I don't love it anymore. I don't hate it. It's fine. But it's sort of, now it's like, as we say in German, good entertainment literature, Unterhaltungsliteratur is. And in the beginning, it was very good. I mean, I guess it was never sort of literary in that sense. But in the beginning, I really had high hopes for kind of getting to know these characters and living with them and finding out their foibles in a sort of more, I guess I wanted it to be more character driven. I got attached to some of the characters and it's not a character driven book. I mean, there are a lot of characters and you kind of get to see them, but it's as if it's a kind of book, because it's so long and so much is happening, the characters themselves become less interesting and not more, which I think is sad. Because that's what, for me, that's more important in a way, even than plot. It's good to have both, but it's just there's an unrelenting aspect of it, having to keep going, and it's just lost its charm for me for that reason. I have a couple of hours left. I'm on page almost 900, so yeah, not that much longer. It's a good book to listen to because it's sort of fairly straightforward. But what's happened is, in the beginning, I thought I might want to listen to the other ones, and I don't think I do. It's like, I'm not that, I think I've had enough of the world. I guess I was sort of thinking about how, like I remember reading or listening to Wook, Herman Wook, War of the War books. There's a duology, I think, and then of course the Caine Mutiny. And they were better. It's older. He's a different writer, I know. But in terms of it being good, basic, straightforward literature of a certain ilk. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. It's like a mid-level. It's not sort of experimental or very literary, but it's not sort of, down there either. It's in the middle. Anyway, but it's just this writer, I guess. What else? So yeah, I've had some purchases and trigger warning, guys. This is serious stuff. This is sad stuff, but it's a book that I really decided I want to read. What am I doing to myself? I subscribe to Kate Mann's Substack. She's the philosopher who wrote Down Girl. And she posted about a new book relating to the absolutely atrocious and depressing and sad, but sort of mind-bogglingly awful case where the husband drugged his poor wife for many, many years and had people come in and, abuse her. And this is a book by a philosopher, Manon Garcia, gender studies professor in France, about the trial and about the implications of it all, and the fact that the people on the stand, the men, their excuses and their lack of real reflection on the awfulness of what they did, the fact that the way they would, I don't want to get into the details of it, and I think even the reading of it, will have to sort of pick a time when I'm sort of feeling resilient. But I am fascinated by the awfulness of it all and the betrayal, the betrayal and what it does say about living with men, I guess, in a certain sense. So this is a brand new book that I just kind of went and decided to order on a whim because of her recommendation of it. Perhaps, do I want to go into reading something of the blurb? a painful, so one of the blurbs, as she excavates the sobering details of the Pelicot trial, Manon Garcia shares the painful realization of what it all reveals about our women's ongoing place in the world and the possibilities for stopping sexual violence. It is confronting and disturbing, but through personal reflections woven through the book, she walks alongside us, offering company, solidarity, and challenge. We see what is going on. Yeah, so I decided to get that, put that on my nonfiction sort of side of things. Another book that I finished and that I was sort of kind of interested in, and I'll put in a picture. I should have put I just have the unadorned copy. It has a beautiful cover that I should find. That I got the secondhand, this copy. It's Murdoch's an early novel by Iris Murdoch called The Italian Girl. Very early, maybe one of her first, I don't know. And it was good. It was interesting. It was sort of strangely it's psychological. It's about this man who comes home to his strange family because the mother has died, and so her overbearing presence on the family has exerted a strange influence on the people in the house, and he has these strange interactions with the people who kind of reveal themselves to be in somewhat of a mess psychologically, and they're having strange relationships with the other people in the house, and it's all kind of, he interacts with each of them somewhat separately, and they have little discussions and talks, and they all want different things from him. And in a way, the book shows how he becomes enmeshed in their sort of drama, and he sort of seems to be he's a strange character. He's a very odd person, and he because he becomes enmeshed in their drama, he kind of has realizations about his own life to a certain degree. And the way it's written is strange. It's almost Kafkaesque. It's very sort of, there's a lack of directness, but strange things are revealed. And it is sort of a lot of talking, a lot of dialogue. In a way, it did make me think of a play almost, people talking about and sort of addressing things in a oblique or unclear way. And it was good, but it wasn't much of a page turner in that sense. It's sort of like I had to not exactly force myself to read it, but I didn't have this feeling of, oh, goody, I get to go read my book. It's more like, okay, let's go back to this book, which, I mean, that's fine. Not all books are like that, but in a way, don't we want them all to be like, oh, goody, I have a treat waiting for me. It wasn't quite that affecting, but I liked it. I liked it a fair amount, and I do want to continue with my Murdoch sort of reading. Let's see. Another book that I may have set aside, but I did start, but I don't know, is an early German example of a Bildungsroman. It's sort of an example of what they call a psychological, it's sort of like autofiction in a certain sense from earlier times, written by Karl Philipp Moritz. I guess it's supposed to be kind of maybe his life. I'll have to look into that more, the precise connection of him to the name of the novel, which is Anton Reise, this poor person whose life starts out in a sort of an unhappy household, and the parents, the father's very enamored with the writings and thinking of the Quietist movement. If you probably, most people don't know who they were. Madame Guyon, Guyon, and other people. They did have quite Fenelon, Philip Fenelon. He's one of the big ones, the Quietists. So a Catholic mystic group who focused, as far as I can understand it, on kind of moving inwards, sort of to find God and removing yourself from anything external, which kind of appeals to me, of course, as the introvert that I am. But what's funny and the irony is that because the parents don't get along, there's nothing quiet in their household. And there's a lot of fighting, and he kind of describes it really quite well in this psychological way. I haven't gotten very far because it's another book that's really interesting and good, but it's not one that if I'm really tired or just, it's not not one I always want to reach for. Actually, that's kind of part of the problem, is to have a book that I'm always in the mood for. Let me talk. The last one I think I'll talk about right now that I've sort of want to get back into, let's put it that way, because a person has been left some comments on my first little talk about the book, saying, oh, you should really finish it, and it's true. And the thing is, so what I'm talking about is Peter Weiss' magnificent sort of anti-fascist opus, brilliant work of art that he wrote over quite a few centuries in the 20th century, called The Aesthetic of Resistance, about these young anti-fascist Germans, I think mainly Germans, who and their comings and goings, and also their very cerebral chats about art, but always connected to a kind of Marxist desire to think about the class situations of connected to the work of arts and the artists, which I find fascinating. And I think that doesn't even catch how great this book is, because it's just extremely well written. It is very dense, as I always say. There's a reason why it's taking me forever to read this, because you're dealing with this kind of, there's very little in the way of punctuation even. But the thing is, it is broken up into three novels of parts, and so and then in each of them are not that long. So I could probably leave. But it is a book that requires attention of a certain sort. So it sort of forces you, or me at least, someone like me, I need to read it slowly to savor it. Also, it's extremely referential, kind of like, remember, if you've read the recognitions, so many references to art of different eras and places and genres and pictures and books and literature, probably music too. So it was everything. And so, I need to get there's a register that talks about all the art mentioned, just so I can cross-reference and look at things. And when they talk about an artwork, I want to look at it. And that, of course, slows you down when you're reading it. So it's a bit of a project book. But I am committed to doing it, but it may have to wait till I have more time. The usual rigmarole. Are we glad that she's retiring? Yes. I think that's it in terms of books. I've started one other one, which I don't think I want to even talk about right now. I'll come back to it. I'm going to try and come back to filming. A somewhat sobering thing, little life update, is that our cat, Mr. T, is pretty sick, we think. And so he, in the sense that his right front leg has become very, very, he cannot put any weight on it. He limps around as if he has no leg. We took him in, and they suspect, what did they say? They basically seem to suspect a cancerous tumor of sorts. So he may have cancer of the leg or bone, so some kind of osteo something, sarcoma. And that would involve either, if that's all it is, and it's only the leg, cutting it off. So, amputating his poor little Tootsie, giving him a couple of years of good quality of life. For me, it's all about quality of life. I don't want him to suffer. Or if it's worse than that and it's spread, palliative. And so, he's sick. He's a sick boy. And how, I think what's interesting to me, it's very sad, but we're so connected to our pets in an almost narcissistic way. Not exactly narcissistic, that's the wrong word. But we are upset. It's our pain because we can't help them. I mean, they have their pain. I don't want to, of course, and that's why we feel sad. But I think it's more like we feel frustrated because we can't help them, because they don't know what's going on. That's the whole thing about why I would be very hesitant, just for me, and this is extremely personal for everyone. Everyone has their own, about things like chemo or anything for a cat. It's like, I don't know if I would want to do chemo, to be honest. And I would know why I'm doing it. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just a little cat update. Poor Mr. T is not feeling well, and we'll get more details on it. I mean, there's a slight chance that it's not that, but we'll see. It's definitely the foot is very not right. And she showed us on the x-ray all the stuff, what's going on there. So but it was a Friday, so we just took him in yesterday, so we don't have the updated stuff. So I'll give you some news on that. Other than that, everything is fine. You want to say hi, Lily? There she is. There's my girl. She's very clingy. They're all clingy. That's how our kitties are. And we're hanging in there, even though the world is a bit of a mess. Don't we know it? And yeah, I hope you're all doing well. And I hope this update made some sense. It's always a little bit hard to come back when you've had a break. I'll get back into the swing of things, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.